Check this out, guys. New York City is adding another thing for a lot of the migrants while they ask for federal funding. We'll get to that later. But now we're seeing New York City Council ask the highest courts to allow migrants and non-citizens to vote. Guys, voting and the privilege to vote in America and several other democratic countries is a thing reserved for its citizens only. I've never heard of a country that allows non-citizens to vote. This is one of the craziest things. Now, this was ruled unconstitutional a few months back when they tried to do this. Now they're trying to do this again. Seems like New York City is extremely consistent in terms of really wanting the migrants to vote. Hey guys, I'm all down for people to come to this country, become citizens, and start voting. I'm all down for that, right? But you can't just have like 200,000 people come into New York City. Many of them are migrants. They don't have job permits, nothing. They just arrive in the country, and then you could just let them vote. That is something that is pretty much not allowed. And a lot of times when a lot of these things go to like courtrooms and stuff like that, it always gets rejected. But who knows? Maybe this time it'll get approved. Right now, a lot of Americans, especially many New Yorkers, are absolutely frustrated at what the New York City Council is doing, at what the Mayor Adams administration is doing. Many New Yorkers are feeling very disconnected from the city administration, and no wonder the population dropped almost 600,000 in the past 3 to 4 years. And look at this, New York City now begins handing out prepaid debit cards. And this is a lot of money. We're not talking about a few bits of dollars here. We're talking about up to $18,000 a year payouts. And this isn't just 18 grand in prepaid debit cards for big families. It's also the families get free rooms at the Roosevelt Hotel. They get 3 meals a day, healthcare, education, all that good stuff. And then on top of that, you get 18,000. So what about our homeless vets? What about the homeless Americans in New York City? Do they get a prepaid debit card? Absolutely not. They don't even get to stay at the Roosevelt. They don't get anything. Many of them are sleeping on the side of the streets. So this is why many New Yorkers are kind of mad. Many domestic Americans are like, what in the world is a city even doing? The city is just doing all sorts of crazy stuff. And I don't know. Right now, if you look at some of the poll numbers, it's sagging for Mayor Eric Adams, and he kind of knows that. And so far, we already got New York City and Chicago evicting migrants from shelters. But there's one thing. You could evict migrants from shelters and give the shelters to the domestic homeless population, which is kind of like what New York City is doing. What happens to all the migrants? Many migrants now in New York City are forced to sleep on the streets. In fact, many migrants don't want to leave New York City. They say they like New York City a lot. In fact, they'd rather sleep on the streets than get the free plane ticket and go to a different city. So now you have New York City and Chicago now having one of the highest homeless population per capita in the entire United States, all in a span of just a year of playing the migrant crisis card. Now the thing is, it's okay to be a migrant city, but calculate how many migrants you could actually take in. I think New York City's max capacity is probably 3,000 people, maybe 5,000 people. After that, it gets insane. They're already hosting tens of thousands of people, and a total of almost 200,000 migrants have went through New York City. New York City right now is going broke. They're spending billions of dollars on a migrant crisis with nothing to show for it. And they can't even continue taxing their original businesses because so many of them have already left. There's even a man in New York City that's upset for not receiving the same benefits as migrants. I mean, can you blame the dude? I mean, migrant families are getting almost 20 G's a year payout, and they already have free rent and everything to go on top of it. They give migrants checks and credit cards. I have to stand out here begging for money. Think about it, a citizen begging for money. All I have is Social Security, I can't live on that. You see Times Square, it looks like a third world country now. The dude extremely mad. Okay, you could actually watch some of these interviews on X, Twitter, whatever, Instagram, and you can see how frustrated many U.S. citizens are. Okay, most people in New York City, especially the working class, are sick and tired of Mayor Eric Adams and his administration's migrant crisis. Handing out prepaid debit cards, wow, that's going to upset a lot of people. Now you want a bunch of non-citizens to have the ability to vote? Wow, that's making a lot of people mad. Messing with small pizza owners, we'll get to that later. But we kind of get the idea of what's going on. A lot of New Yorkers are just sick and tired of what's happening in New York City. They're like, New York City has really, really lost its ways right now. Let's see what happens. Thanks for watching, guys. Subscribe for more.